But I am. I have the opportunity to interview some amazing guests, and today is no different. I have the awesome opportunity to interview Vivianne Knebel about discovering a beautiful life in spite of the past. In spite of the past, she was born an illegitimate child in the wake of World War II in Berlin, Nazi Germany, to a single mother. Her options were limited and her future looked bleak. She experienced poverty, cold, and hunger, and was even driven to the point of committing suicide. To seek out a better life, Vivianne immigrated to Canada as a teenager, but her misfortunes did not end there. However, in response to a miraculous intervention, she decided to preserve her life and keep moving forward. I am super excited to be able to share her story today, and hopefully it will encourage you as you listen, because you know what we do here at The Blueprint. We help you design your life's vision and goals one episode at a time. After the intro, I will be so happy to present to you author, survivor, and living a beautiful life, Vivianne Knebel. Welcome, Vivianne. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I am so excited that you had the time and that you agreed to meet with me today and share your story with my viewers and my listeners. Please, I only shared a tidbit, but share with us about, being born an illegitimate child in the wake of World War II and the struggles and challenges that you have. If you wouldn't mind sharing that with our viewers.
Well, yes, I tell you, I decided to write my book because I look at my life now. It is such a beautiful life. And as I reflected back, I think I have to kind of pinch myself and say, my gosh, what a journey this has been. I was born in the epicenter, Berlin, Germany, Nazi Germany, and 1943. And I was an illegitimate child, which of course was taboo among the Nazi regime. I had no country. I was deemed stateless in my mother's passport, and I felt looked down upon. And looking back, I'm pretty sure had Germany not lost the war, the Nazis not lost the war, I would have been eliminated as well. I went through a lot of struggles. I had a most loving mother who was fiercely devoted to me, and my sister, who was also illegitimate, which made it a double whammy, made it even worse. So I went through a lot of hardships as far as hunger. In the aftermath of World War II, hunger and cold was a constant. And then eventually I went to school and started school, wanted to always do my best, and thought I'm really going to do my best. And when I actually started school, it was a rude awakening because I could not follow the concepts of the teacher. I had a different map. And so I fell behind. I had to repeat the first grade, and it was a further blow because the teacher condemned me to my mother as dumb, and I'm everything else but dumb.
What?
And yes, and that you can imagine what that does to a child's psyche. You know, yeah,
Absolutely.
that was I was the weakest link. One could say I was the weakest link. And
Mm.
to see this now, that from the weakest link, I've become the strongest.
Yes.
I
Oh,
think
yes.
our struggles really, they fortify us. I think they really fortify us. Every challenge makes us even stronger. And like I said, I had to repeat first grade, and then eventually mother came home and met someone that was an old school friend, when she was going to school, who returned just from Siberia. He was imprisoned for 5 years in Siberia, and she brought him home and she said, "Now you have a father." And I was delighted to have a father, and wanted, looked, I so much wanted a father. And he sewed clothes for us since he was a tailor, and we ate regular meals.
And
But
so this is
then,
your mother brings this gentleman home and says,
yes,
"You now have a father." So this was your
now you have a
mom,
father.
and now and you and your sister.
My sister, who was also illegitimate, yes.
Wow.
But so she brought him home, and I called him Papa right away. I mean, that wasn't the first day, but as
Yes.
she met him and brought him home and so on, I called him Papa right away. I was delighted with father, and then eventually he moved in with us. But then we saw another side of him. He drank. On weekends, he would not come home. I remember our first Christmas, waiting for him. He never appeared. And then the verbal fights started, and even physical fights with my mother. And my mother did not leave him, although we begged her to leave him, because even though we ate better, we still felt my mother becoming increasingly unhappy. But my mother had no choice. There were very few men that came back from the war, and she needed a meal ticket for her children. So sometimes, I can see it. People make choices, sometimes for different reasons. This was a reason to feed her children, you know.
And so how long, Vivian, how long after he came into the home did you all begin to see the different side, have that experience?
Oh, I think once he moved in, and that was about maybe half a year later when he moved in. That's when yes. And then eventually she would not leave him, but eventually they decided to immigrate. And in order to immigrate, she had to get married. So she married him and took us aside and said, this is not a union of love. This is a meal ticket.
Yeah.
And so we understood, and we focused on immigration, and we immigrated to Canada. And there things didn't get better. We looked for opportunities for a better life, but the first year, again, the first winter, not the first year, the first winter, we went hungry again because he couldn't find a job. He was a hard worker. I have to say this. He was a hard worker. He wanted to work, but he could not find a job as a tailor. So again, my mother was a survivor, and she took me by the hand. We went into a church, just walked into a church, and explained our plight to the priest, and he sympathetically handed us $35. So my mother went out immediately, and we got staples like flour, rice, the staples. And so that's how we got through this difficult time. And then I asked my mother, I want to work. Let me help the family. And she got a special permit, working permit for me when I was just turned 14. And
Wow.
it was full of hope. My position was full of hope, because it was a dentist who wanted to teach me to become a dental assistant. And I
What?
thought,
At
oh, this is a great
14?
future. Yes, well, start teaching,
Of
But what
course.
what
Yes.
what what I found out, though, I was actually being used. I had to clean the practice first, from uh,
Ah.
the whole thing all the time, and then he did teach me certain things, to sterilize the instruments, to do the x-rays, and handing him the instrument, and mixing plaster, and all these kind of things that were involved. And I learned that, and I worked hard, And then one day, one of his friends came in, and I was only 14. I didn't look it. I already developed. But his friends came in, one of his friends came in, and he had come in a few times. And once, when my boss was not there, he sexually abused me. And that was such a shock for me because I was totally innocent. And I thought, am I going to tell my boss? Am I going to tell my boss? And because it was so horrifying to explain to him, where you touched me. And so I told my boss, I decided I'm going to tell him because I was so afraid he might come back and do it again. So
Yes.
I left that office. My boss did defend me.
Oh,
He did say, oh, that you will never be allowed in here again. But I left.
now did you share
So
with your mother what happened?
I told my mother, and of course she was totally with me. You
Supportive.
have to
Yes.
go. You have to go.
Yes. Yes.
So no, my mother was always very protective of us. I do have
Yeah.
to say, she had a chaotic life, but she had a heart of gold. My
Yeah.
mother had a heart of gold, and she instilled in us wonderful values. She instilled in us compassion and the important values. And in any case, I left that office and then started to work for Woolworths. That 5 and 10 cent store,
I
and I
absolutely do remember Woolworths. Yes.
and I worked behind the lunch counter and actually enjoyed it, making sandwiches for people and serving them
Yes.
because it's my nature to serve to this day. It's my nature to serve. Even though I'm very well off, it's always, what can I do? And I think we
Yes.
all need to have that mindset. I think we need
Absolutely.
to it's not us, me all the time. What about the other person? That's something,
Absolutely.
it's just innate. So I enjoyed that actually. And but I did want to improve my station in life, and so I went to night school to learn typing and stenography. And I found a job at Volkswagen Sales and Service. That German bug, that German car, that
Absolutely. So
iconic
you
car,
go from Woolworths to Volkswagen.
to Volkswagen because I learned stenography and typing.
Yes.
So I got that. I applied for that job during my lunch hour. It was very quick. It took me right away. Everything was simpler then, and I was excited to work there. But I became increasingly depressed because I worked with women in a huge room with women that were over twice my age, and
Ah,
there was no camaraderie, no connection.
mhm.
And I was very serious. I fell into deep depression. So I decided one day I couldn't take this anymore. I thought I failed at everything I've done. And I heard somewhere that you could take your life by starting the motor in a garage and close the garage door and leave the motor running, and that would be my ultimate end.
No, no, no. Wait a minute. You're saying that you got into a place where you were so depressed
Yes,
that you wanted to take
exactly.
your own life.
Which is so precious. Today, I
Mhm.
can't understand it, but young people, they don't understand. Their pain in their mind and hearts is very real.
All consuming. Yes, yes, yes.
And so I could not. I'm sorry about that phone. I forgot that I should
That's
have taken
fine.
that off. But so I decided to. I started the motor in the garage, closed the garage door. I thought this would be my end, and then all of a sudden, this sounds like unreal. A little girl around the age of 6 stood in front of me, and she asked me, "What are you doing?" And I immediately turned the motor off and opened the garage door, and kind of,
Wait. So,
it's unbelievable. It was not meant for me. It
yes,
makes you really wonder, do we arrive at a certain time when we're supposed to and leave
yes.
on another time? You wonder.
Because you're in the garage. So where did the
I'm in the
little girl
garage
come
waiting for
from?
my, well, after I opened the garage door, turned off the motor first and opened the garage door, and I looked for her, she was gone again.
It's gone.
And then I thought, where did she come from? She
Yeah.
must have entered a side door, which I was not aware of. See, I had bought a used car and had rented a garage in a duplex.
Ah,
And I wasn't aware that there was that side door. I thought she must have come in through that side door. And I still remember what she looked like, but I didn't know her name. And I often thought about that little girl. I
no.
think my mission has to be to help those that feel prone to despair.
Yes.
I think that there was I think everything has a meaning. There's a
Yes.
reason for everything. And this was so bizarre, but nonetheless, I clung to a glimmer of hope again, and went back to my job, went back to work, and eventually they transferred me and made me the secretary from the service manager downstairs, where I saw more people, and I loved to be around people. I wanted life around me. And once I turned 20, a man walked in as a customer, he bought a Porsche, and he became my husband. That's
Wait,
That's how that was. Yes, yes,
wait. So, so wait, you were ready to take your own life,
yes.
but
At the age of 17.
at
At the age of
17,
17.
and
17, right.
I like to believe that little girl that showed up was just God in flesh to say,
It has
no,
to
it
be.
wasn't your time.
Yes,
And
yes.
then here you go back to work, and a man comes in to buy a Porsche and he gets a wife.
And he gets a wife, right. And this man, that was a turning point in my life. This man he said once, when I met you, it was like I picked up a stone. That looked a little different, and when I polished it, it was a diamond. That's what he
Oh,
said to me later on. And he always encouraged me to learn and grow. And I learned to pilot a plane. I ran a marathon. I helped him in his business. So I'm everything else but dumb, what the teacher said in the first
yes.
grade, and they could. I believe your inner strength raises you above your outward fate.
Oh, please say that again.
I
Please.
really, I really believe your inner strength raises you above your outward fate, because you have to be optimistic. You have to have hope, because lack of hope is a lack of something to live for. So
Absolutely.
I think I manifested my own destiny, and there was a lot of hurt. It was very hard, but I feel that every challenge that I had to overcome made me stronger for the next one. And I
But
believe,
that is why your story is so encouraging, because at every step you wanted more. You wanted
yes,
more for yourself. You wanted more for your life. And
yes,
ultimately, that desire, bringing in, and as you say, manifesting and materializing a better life for yourself.
right, right. And you know what? I've also gotten used to writing down my goals. I
Ah,
always, whatever
yeah.
I write, because when I write them down, I see them. I see
Yes.
them. And also, I'm very optimistic when everything is not looking good, or now everything is always looking good. People ask me, how is your day going? I said, very good. Every day is going good and
Yeah.
going well. It is the truth. It is the truth. But whenever I faced struggles, I just felt more. I felt I have to keep my positivity, my
Yeah.
optimism. I have to stay determined and persevere.
Yeah.
Those two things, the determination and perseverance, are omnipotent.
Oh, and is that what happened? That shift, that turning point, meeting your husband and staying determined and writing down your goals so that you can see them and persevering. Is that what has helped you to discover the ultimate secret of a life well lived? Because you're living
Right.
well.
I'm having the most beautiful life.
Yes.
I often pinch myself and I say, I don't think a person could be more content, more peaceful, more fulfilled than I am. And from the weakest link to have gotten to this stage, when I think about that and when I thought about that a year ago when I wrote my book, I had to put it down. I reflected, I had to put this down. And hopefully, my mission really is to help those that feel defeated or suppressed. Because you can help yourself. God is within you. You have to go to your power source. You have to
Yes.
go to the God within you. And
Yes.
I feel I carry God within me. And we
Yes.
all do. But some people
Absolutely.
don't connect. And if you don't connect, you carry God within you. But when you don't connect, it's like you'd want to dry your hair. You take the blow dryer. If you don't plug it in, nothing will come. You
Yes.
have to connect. You have to connect. And I think gratitude is very important. I
Yes.
think my
Absolutely.
book is mainly about gratitude. It's a major component for happiness. You go
Yes.
through life, and I think since I've gone through so much hurt, I'm so immensely grateful for
Mhm.
the smallest things. There's
Yeah.
nothing I'm not grateful for. So I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed to have come to this stage in my life. And like I said, my life has gotten better and better. And all I actually ever wanted was to have a beautiful home, a garden, and then a family that's intact, that is
Mhm.
harmonious. But I got so much more. I even
Yes.
now I'm even at a stage where I can help my family, to have
Yeah.
a better life, and that there's nothing more beautiful than being able to raise someone, to give someone help, to be in that
Absolutely.
position. So I'm blessed in every way. But I was challenged one more time. That was about, I'm 77 now. That was when I was 70. I turned 70 and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And it was a shock. It was like a slap in the face when the doctor gave me
Absolutely.
this diagnosis. And I thought, this can't be. I know the blood rushed into my head, and I thought, this can't be. Not now. I have my life so together, but it just shows you, it can all be perfect. It's like life is like a puzzle, and then it's all ready. And then somebody takes a piece out, and then you scramble again to get it together. That's kind
Yes.
of how you can see it. But I was in shock at first, but after a very short while, I thought about this and I said, I'm going to not see myself as a victim. I'm going to fight this disease with courage, with optimism and positivity. And that's exactly what I did. I set my breakfast table, which I always do at night, and in the
Yeah.
morning, I said, how am I going to deal with this? And I decided to take that positive route, and I became happy. I could see the
Mm.
minute I shifted into this positive mode, I noticed already, I felt a shift. I felt a
Yes.
shift. And I just went through the radiation, through the at the 5 years, I had to take the pill, and I
Yes.
went to the radiation for 6 weeks, 5 days a week, and so on. But always with a cheerfulness, because I was glad they caught it early. That was
Yes.
another thing to be grateful for. It wasn't advanced, but and now it's been 7 years. I'm cancer free, and I
Yeah.
think again, it was another challenge, but it also made me again more aware how precious life is. You know,
But
I
Vivian, I
can.
think what's beautiful, and I hope that the viewers and listeners heard this, that you made your breakfast, you laid out your breakfast the night before.
Yes, I always
So
do that. Yes.
for me, how that resonates for me or how it lands for me is that you were confident you were going to see the next day. You
I
laid out your
was.
breakfast.
Yes,
Oh my
yes.
gracious.
Just like we manifest our lives, it's the way
Yes,
you think. You think, thoughts. Always think about this. Thoughts increase. What you think is what you are. Those are not empty words.
that's right.
you know it's, you have to start with your own mind, put this positivity in there, and live it. Live it, not just talk about it, live it. It's like having a philosophy. A philosophy is useless if it's simply the awareness of the rituals and teachers. It has to be an energy pattern that you use and apply every day of your life. Is so only then, is otherwise it's talk. You have to
Oh my gosh.
live it. You have to live it.
Live it. You have to live it.
Yes,
Not just empty words, but live it and put the energy and the action behind those words so that you can manifest it and materialize it in the natural.
you are so right. You are so, that's exactly how it is. Yes.
Oh my gosh. And 7 years cancer free. Congratulations.
Thank you. I feel, I don't feel my age at all because I feel I'm so full of energy and there's a growing interest. As long as you maintain an interest in life and you see the beauty of life, that's not you're not getting old. And there's so
And the
much
fact,
potential.
yes, and I want to encourage people because you wrote a book in your 70s.
Yes, yes, yes.
So listen, folks, we have no excuse. We have Vivianne is our example that we have no excuse. As long as we have breath in our bodies, we can still make impact. We can still write the book. We can still preach the sermon. We can still speak the message, and we can still manifest the life that we desire.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm living proof of it.
Yes.
I'm
And
living proof of it.
beautiful living proof at 77.
Yes, and I'm grateful for my life, and I have many more things I want to do. There's an increasing energy, and there's this wisdom as
Yes.
you get older, and you need to use that. Everything that God has given you, you need to apply it. You need to use it. It's not just there to be, not to be used. So I feel I still have a lot to give.
I'm
I
so
feel I still have a
excited.
lot to give.
And Vivian, I'm here for it. And I want to see how everything unfolds and the more that you do and even writing more books. And I am so grateful that you took the time and allowed me to
I
interview
lost
you
my,
today.
sorry,
Oh, no problem.
you
I
got, you still
appreciate.
got,
Yes. Yes, I
yes,
was
I
saying that
listened. I'm
uh-oh,
so sorry.
that's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you now, but the thing does not want to stay in here. But that's the,
Well, thank you
okay,
so much. Yes, I
yes,
can
I'm just
definitely
gonna
hear you.
hold it.
Okay.
Do you hear me? Yes, I hear you now.
Yes.
I'm so sorry
Yes,
about that to
thank
happen
you.
here.
Thank you so
Thank you
much
so
for
much.
being with me.
Yes, and I want to thank you for allowing me to have a voice.
Oh, thank you for sharing your voice. I appreciate you. So I was so excited to be able to interview Vivianne today, and such a beautiful example of living your best life and reaching your life's visions and goals, one episode at a time. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of The Blueprint.